truly. The tales and songs fall utterly short of your enormity, O Smaug, the stupendous.
Hello everyone, Prince Rillian from RonnieWeb.com. It's time for a Hobbit trailer analysis. The new one just came out today, and I thought I'd go ahead and dive in, take a look at some of the shots. Here we've got great performance from Martin Freeman as Bilbo. I think he's really probably the perfect Bilbo. Couldn't be happier with him. So we'll go ahead and dive in and see what we have.
We are the dwarves of Erebor. We have come to reclaim our homeland.
I offer you my help.
How do we know he won't betray us? We don't.
There is no king under the mountain, nor will there ever be.
It will not end here. With every victory, this evil will grow.
Okay, my first reaction was seeing Thorn in that costume. Man, great costumes. Okay, all the guys at Weta, kudos to you, seriously. I mean, the costumes and sets, props, everything looks fantastic in this movie. Interesting action bits here. A little bit on the white orc, Azog. So there was an interesting piece on thewondering.net. Go ahead and read it if you can. I'll try to put the link here below. But it basically theorizes that Azog is undead and that the necromancer brought him back. Possible? Wouldn't necessarily mind him working for the necromancer, I mean, since he's already in the story, and I didn't not really happy with him there. Anyway, I mean, Lurtz served a purpose in the Fellowship of the Ring. It's the orc that Aragorn killed at the end of the first movie. He served the purpose. He's kind of a nameless orc. Okay, fine, there would be a nameless orc. Then Aragorn can kill someone, and, the one who killed Boromir, and you don't get that involved. It's not that complicated. It doesn't really take away from the story. It merely adds. I don't really mind Lurtz at all. I think he's probably a good addition. I think the movie's better with him than without him. Azog, not so sure. Okay, part of it's maybe I'm not so thrilled about solely CGI. But anyway, I kind of hope he's not undead. I think it'd just be kind of weird for the story. But anyway, it was a theory. Looks like he's going to be continuing his fight, and I'm wondering what the location is. I'm wondering if it's maybe, I don't know if it's the mountain. I don't think it's the mountain. I'm wondering if it's actually going to be Thranduil's kingdom. So we'll just have to see. Moving on.
Legolas has grown very fond of you. Do not give him hope where there is none.
Yes. So, about this, how necessary really is a romance here? I mean, okay, in The Lord of the Rings, I understand, I really do, even though the book did not have the Arwen-Aragorn romance was not as prominent in the book. It was maybe, in some ways, it was more powerful subconsciously. As you thought about Aragorn and what he was going through, thinking about that and Arwen in the back of his mind added some power to the character in the book. In terms of word space, though, it wasn't really that heavy. And, okay, so we had that. And then, of course, in the movie, understand, they wanted to have a romance. Okay, we got one. Fortunately, could have been worse. Reference Arwen and Helm's Deep. But back to the point here. Okay, if Legolas, what point is there for him to have a romance? If he were one of the main characters, it would maybe make some sense. We might actually care. But if he is just going to be like a glorified cameo, I mean, how big is his role really? I mean, we've seen quite a bit of him, so maybe he is going to be a main character. So, okay, so first of all, if he's a bigger character, this is just a bigger distraction from the story. Okay, and not to mention all the issues with the history of Middle-earth and then, contradicting books, okay? I'm being gracious here. Book purists aside, I'm being gracious by just saying, will this work for the movie by itself? So if Legolas is a bigger character, it's just going to detract more from The Hobbit, along with this romance. And if he's a smaller character and it's not going to detract that much, why do we care? It's just, is this just supposed to be this nice little thing? It's not even a girlfriend. It's like a torn love affair where we're supposed to be caring and, aww, get together, guys. Really, I mean, I just don't see this really working for the film. And I don't know. Maybe I've been so jaded by all the changes in The Lord of the Rings, even good ones, that I just sometimes become numb to changes like this. So I'm a little bit skeptical. No, I'm very skeptical. I'm a little bit skeptical of the role of Legolas and it working in the movie. I'm very skeptical about this, and so anyway, I'm done talking. Moving on.
You have no right to enter that mountain.
Okay, here we have Bard, the bowman. Looks a little bit too much like Orlando Bloom from Pirates of the Caribbean for my taste, but still, what I'm guessing we have here is a little more politicking. We'll just have to see how it's handled. More dialogue, a little more plot intrigue with how characters are responding to the dwarves returning to Erebor. It could be handled well. We'll just have to see. But my guess is that they're going to add just a little more tension between Bard and they're definitely going to make him a more prominent character. He didn't really come into the story so much when they first get to Lake Town. It was really once the dragon arrives. But they're definitely going to be making him a more prominent character here from the get-go. And so, I don't really mind giving Bard a more prominent role. I really don't. He's already a character in the books that has a prominent role, even though if he's not in the book doing a whole lot throughout the whole story, or even in a small majority of it. He certainly is prominent and memorable. Okay, so I don't mind giving a character who had a significant role killing the dragon and then prominent place in the reader's memory. I don't mind giving him more space. I think that could work well for the movie. But so I'm kind of looking forward actually to seeing how Bard is handled. Not sure much about the actor, but we'll just have to. It seems like I'm saying it. We'll just have to see. But maybe it's because I kind of maintain a bit of agnosticism about movies like this. I do think that this will probably be better, and this does already, in my opinion, look better than the first movie. So, liking Bard so far, could be good. Wold, I think he comes in again, and I'll talk a little bit more about him in a little bit.
I have the only right.
We've been blind. In our blindness, our enemy has returned.
Okay. Huge question marks here. Is the Eye of Sauron already back in this movie? Because how are they going to handle it? Because in The Lord of the Rings, in the book and the movie, Gandalf doesn't know Sauron is back. He doesn't assume Sauron is back. So who is this enemy? Is he just talking about the Necromancer as a past character, like, the Necromancer is this enemy, and he's asserted himself and we didn't realize that we were caught blindsided? Is that the direction they're taking? Or, because I don't see how this line of dialogue seems to indicate that Gandalf figures out Sauron is back. But that would seem to completely contradict the Lord of the Rings movie, much less the book. And so, we'll just see. Maybe this is a misleading part of the trailer. I don't know. Maybe the trailers are misleading. They throw in lines of dialogue, and for all we know, this little line isn't going to even be in the movie. And then they throw in this eye, and my guess is that this particular shot of the eye isn't going to be in the movie. It's just a guess. It's just kind of abstract. It doesn't seem to be any context surrounding it. But we do know, and this is a good place to talk about it, the Necromancer plot. During the Hobbit book, Gandalf leaves the group, and they go on to Mirkwood, and he goes on south, and he, with the White Council, Galadriel and Saruman, they fight and expel the Necromancer from southern Mirkwood. And this is where they decided to take part of the second film, and I'm guessing it's going to be a pretty significant part of the second film. I think that one of the reasons they're continuing, the trailers tend to focus more on the dragon, is probably just for marketing. I'm guessing that a significant portion of the second film is going to include the Necromancer. Do I mind this? Yes and no. The no part of me says, well, it is in the book. It's in the appendices to The Lord of the Rings. It is Tolkien material. It did happen in the books. And so in that realm, it's consistent. But again, flow, consistency through a story. Are you engaging the audience? There's a reason Tolkien knew what was going on when he wrote The Hobbit, but for some reason he decided to leave that in the background and not really give much attention to it at all. Tolkien was a pretty good author. I'm guessing that the movie will very likely suffer some. And again, I talked about the Hobbit focus. You know, I think they're not keeping that same Hobbit focus that they kept with Frodo and the Ring in the first movie. I mean, like the first 3 movies, punished as 1 movie. But I'm kind of looking forward to this, only to see how it turns out. I mean, it's kind of like the Foundations of Stone scene at the beginning of the Two Towers movie. You know, we didn't actually witness that quite as much in the book. It's kind of told in retrospect, but I was so glad to see that scene realized. I thought it was amazing. And that same fan part of me is wanting to see this put into the new movie. However, I mean, I kind of want to see it more than I want to see it in the movie, if that makes sense. So this, you know, this is really the biggest question I think a lot of fans have, is how well is the Necromancer plot going to work? It didn't work that well in the Hobbit movie. I mean, An Unexpected Journey, the first part. You could kind of cut all that stuff out and it would flow better. So they obviously needed it to set this up here. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how Radagast plays out. You know, he's not really destroying any cool moments in this trailer. So, and of course, as some people said, he is the Jar Jar Binks of The Hobbit, unfortunately. So I'm hoping that they make Radagast a cooler character and less stupid, frankly, in this one. And that is the number one question, I think, for a lot of fans going forward, is the role of the Necromancer.
I found something in the Goblin Tunnels.
What did you find?
My courage.
Good. You'll need it.
Dragonfire and ruin.
That is what you will bring upon us. He cannot see beyond his own desire. I will not risk this quest for the life of one burglar.
His name was Bilbo.
Thief. Where are you? Come now. Don't be shy. Step into the light.
Wow. Okay, certainly one of the things that fans have been waiting for is Benedict Cumberbatch as the voice of Smaug. Again, Benedict Cumberbatch is probably most famous for his portrayal of Sherlock on the BBC series. I didn't know really what to expect. When I heard Benedict Cumberbatch playing Smaug, I thought, okay, fantastic actor. Certainly has the talent, absolutely has the talent, but does he have the voice? And I knew, obviously, he wasn't going to be the typical Benedict Cumberbatch unedited voice. They were going to be editing it. How does it sound? Perfect. I really have to say that this, from just going off this line, it sounds perfect. I love it. I think it sounds fantastic. Not just delivery, just the sound of it. It sounds like a dragon. It sounds brilliant and intelligent. And I just love it. It sounds like really how I imagine Smaug when I read the book. So that pretty much wraps up this trailer analysis. And feel free to subscribe to the link below. Looking forward to the movie this December. And we just passed the 75-day mark, so we're getting closer. How much am I looking forward to this movie? I'll be honest, not as much as The Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit is not quite as... I mean, it's a great book, but it's not as good a book as The Lord of the Rings, so there's that. And also, I wish they had just done 2 movies. I think it would have been better. I think it would have flowed better. And that's the form factor is my biggest question. In fact, I've kind of joked around with Glumpuddle, who I do the podcast with on 91web.com, and I've talked to him and said, for a lot of fans, the extended edition is more or less, more or less, kind of almost the fan version of The Lord of the Rings, because it just has, overall, a lot of the extended scenes and stuff fans like. Here, I think in some ways a shortened edition would be kind of the fan version. Like the fan version would be one that's actually shorter, that cuts out a lot of extraneous stuff and smooths out the storyline. So hoping the movie is good. I think it will be better than the first one, because I think a lot of the first movie is just setting up what they're doing in the second and also third film. So look forward to seeing it, and see you all at the theaters in December.